Liverpool 2, Atletico 4 on aggregate. Liverpool are out of the Champions League. What a game. That game was full of emotion, a roller coaster. From 1 minute, Liverpool are cruising. Next minute, hands are in heads thinking, what the fuck has just gone? That was a mad game. Even for a Liverpool fan, as a neutral, they must have been gassed. And that's what Champions League is about. Champions League is all about that. I'm sad that we're out, but I want to big up every single player bar one. That game was nuts. Like their performance levels was intense. It was crazy. That's all I expected from Liverpool to going back to Anfield in the second leg. So I'm very much proud of what Liverpool, how they performed. I always say as well, right, if Liverpool are going to lose, I'd much rather they give everything and leave everything out on the pitch. I think Liverpool, they did that. So me personally, I don't know how Junior's going to feel about that statement, but I'm super happy with the way Liverpool went on.
Taylor two keepers, I think, is probably the best way to put it. You see why one's available on a free, and you see why one's worth 100 million. And listen, you don't sit here and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, it's all his fault. Or what? I don't want to sit here and say that's the only reason we didn't go through, because that would be the cop out thing to say. I don't get me wrong. We've always said, yeah, if Liverpool are going to lose or get knocked out of competitions or whatever, that's part and parcel. We've gone 2 years where we've had 2 finals. 1 year we lost in the final, 1 year we won it. So you can't get too ahead of yourselves, and you can't get too greedy, as it were. But I want to go out on my shield. I want to die on. I want to go out fighting. That's how I know that Liverpool team is all about. And I can safely say that yesterday they did that. You always hear Spurs, for example. United fans have said it. Arsenal fans have said it. Chelsea fans. If you lose, you'd rather be playing good football and lose. You can live with that because you know that they've tried and they've given it a go. And from that perspective, I don't have any doubts that they didn't try their hardest yesterday and they didn't try, and it was a good spectacle. The scoreline flatters Atletico in the end because Liverpool obviously are chasing the game. So it's inevitable to get caught on the attack. That kind of happens. But like I said, it's a tale of two keepers. One keeper was out of this world. Some of the stuff he was doing yesterday there's a reason why he's a £100 million keeper. Mm-hmm. And then obviously from our side, you can see why West Ham was saying you can go on a free. You're available.
All right. So the one thing that I want to mention, like, first of all, right, is like I've read a lot. I've read a lot of comments. Now, for me, football, I think, has changed, and the audience has changed. I know with generations, it's changed. By this, what I mean is people are not actually clocking the actual football. They're not actually clocking what's happening. So people are too concerned about their own agenda of things that they predicted or wanted to say, and they just use that and say, look, I told you that Atletico, for example, like, I'll go through some of them. I told you Atletico were going to do a job on Liverpool. So okay, the outcome maybe was correct for what you guessed, but did you predict that this was going to be how it turned out, whereby Liverpool creating 35 chances in this game? No, it wasn't. Your prediction was that Atletico were going to be so good defensively that Liverpool ain't really going to get a sniff and they're going to do a job, because that's what Simeone does. They said that Anfield, it isn't. You lot said come back to Anfield. We're going overconfident about Anfield. Anfield was buzzing. The script, Liverpool were following the script until the very end. Until, for me, Adrian gave the ball away. So what I'm trying to say here is, I'm not trying to be salty or make excuses. What I'm saying is, like, Liverpool, if you're actually a football fan and watch football for what it is, rather than take everything away from it, you have to say that Liverpool, their plan was going up to perfectly well until Adrian gave the ball away for no reason. When defenders are saying give it that way, everyone's telling him pass that way. That's when the game changes. Now, for me, that's pretty much obvious in what happened. There's other people saying, "Oh, I told you the Premier League is dead. The league is better. We're overhyping the Premier League." Atletico got raped in that game. They literally did. Until Adrian gave him the ball, that's when the game just literally, they hadn't had a single shot or chance at goal. Let's be honest. So this is what I'm a bit confused. Like, if you're a football fan, let's just appreciate what the football just went on and what happened to Atletico Madrid. But the thing that I will say, and I'm saying we're not salty at all. What we're saying is that they stayed in the game. That's all. Like, that's what I give full credit to. People are talking about Simeone masterclass. Like, that's what baffles me. Like, statements like that. Like, I'm really like confused to how that is a Simeone masterclass, because
I'm just gonna dip in with that. Yeah, I'm gonna say, listen, people like Michael Owen yesterday sounded very salty. Yeah, Klopp's comments afterward, for me, salty. Yeah, no need. There's no need. You can't turn around and say, be like, oh, I don't understand why they've got world class players and they play that sort of football. They just beat you. So leave the salt to one side. Michael Owen, all these things about this. I don't care. This is the best team in Europe.
We're still the best in Europe. We just lost.
Shorty, if you're the best team, you win. You
You
find
win.
a way to win. So I'm going to be a little bit more, a bit more blunt about it. Why are you leaving it to that late? You had 35 chances. Take your chances. You win the game. I've said this for a long time. I'm not having a dip or a sort of a pop at Liverpool for this. But what I'm saying is, you can't look at Liverpool and say Adrian's cost us that game solely, because if you do, then you're not a real true football fan, because chances that they created and carved out and they missed after chance after chance after chance, that's where the problem lies. We've said it before. If you and I word for word have said, when you come up against better opposition, you need to be more clinical, and that's exactly why. Because in these types of games, Klopp is right. They have got world class players, and they will punish you if you stay in the game. If you allow them to stay in the game, that game should have been put to bed within 15 minutes of that game being kicking off. The chances were there. We carved out 35 chances.
You've had over 200 minutes. It's over 2 legs.
So,
it's not one game where you like. This is what I'm saying. For any Liverpool fans that want to hold on to like the reasons and all this kind of stuff, say this is why Liverpool lost because of this. You've had 2 games. You've had over 200 minutes to beat this team, and you haven't. So in all, Simeone's done the job, and Atletico have done the job. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm hearing Simeone masterclass. Now that's not a masterclass.
Yeah.
If anything, hold on, let me finish. If anything, I see what Klopp done is a masterclass to Atletico, because people were expecting Atletico to be so good defensively and not carve up any chances, but Liverpool carved up chance after chance after chance after chance. So all I'm trying to say is, just because you predicted an outcome, like when we predict boxing fights, when we predicted that Tyson Fury was going to win, we say yes, we predicted that, but we didn't predict it was going to go like that. Do you know what I mean? You have to put your hands up sometimes. So all I'm trying to say is that some people have their own predictions, their own agendas, and they just want to put it in there and say, look, I told you that the Premier League was dead. You got Man City tucking in Real Madrid
at the Bernabeu.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want Man City to win it, but I fully want Man City to tuck Real Madrid, because I'm tired of all this nonsense. Like what I'm saying is Liverpool rinsed Atletico Madrid, but they stayed in the game. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't say it's a masterclass, but I say they were on job and they knew what they want to do. Just stay in the game. Even Simeone, who's still saying calm down, even when the people were saying, what? Like, this guy doesn't want to sneak a goal towards the end of the 90th minute. No. His was like, just stay in the game and just wait for that one mistake. And they kept chasing.
So hold on. So you just said, stay in the game, wait for that one mistake.
Yeah.
Did they not do that then?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. They were on job, but is it a masterclass? It's not a Simeone masterclass. That's what baffles me. How is it a masterclass? Can you maybe see where this is coming from? Because I don't see it.
Well, I can see it from Simeone's perspective, it being a masterclass, because he's saying to you, this is what we're doing. Stay in the game, wait for a mistake, and you capitalise on the mistake.
So get tucked for 90 minutes.
But they didn't.
What do you mean they didn't?
But they did, because they didn't concede, so they didn't.
No, but the thing is, when you see teams do this, right, you say, okay, you can see what they're trying to do. Their plan is they're going to frustrate Liverpool, and we'll get a corner, we get a free kick. They didn't get nothing, not even an attempt, until Adrian gave them the ball. I didn't see what tactics were going on. For me, the game looked like it was done until Adrian gave the ball away. So that's what I'm saying. I'm a bit confused to where the tactics were. And if it wasn't for the Adrian mistake, and all these like people saying, oh, you can't blame it on that. Well, Liverpool did everything that they were meant to do in these 2 legs, really. They went there, had all the possession, they didn't want to concede. But when Firmino scored, I didn't see how they were going to score. Did you?
No, I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
what I'm saying is, I'm of a slightly different mindset when it comes to these types of things. Me and you are different on these sort of things. From my perspective, Liverpool have only themselves to blame. Yeah, they've got no one else to blame. They've got themselves to blame. Adrian, yes, that was poor. And after that, even the other 2 goals, he could and should be doing more, as far as I'm concerned. Harsh or whatever, but I'm going to compare it to what we've got in Alisson and what we had at the other end in Oblak. Because for me, they're the 2 best goalkeepers in the world. That's your benchmarks. This guy's miles below that. And he's number 2, I understand that. And it is tough. But all I'm saying is, Man United, for example, their number 2 is doing bits. Because he's challenging. A number 2 shouldn't be happy to sit on the bench. A number 2 should be saying, I want that shirt. So that's where I'm a little bit like, not sure, right? That's where, with Adrian, I'm a little bit like, everyone got a bit boosted or whatever with the Chelsea penalties and whatever. And fair play to him for that. You can't take that away from him. But even before that, he made that save and he palmed it out and then took the ball in the face. You should be catching that. You shouldn't even be. It's not even up for debate. You should be catching that. So, and Liverpool's the forwards. Listen, I thought Salah was brilliant yesterday. I genuinely thought he was brilliant. Firmino from about the 70th minute onwards, which is the problem. But 70 minutes onwards, he was brilliant. Mane all game brilliant, right? But you're judged on the goals you score and the chances, the decision making. And that's where the problem is. That's for me where I don't even care about. I actually don't care about Atletico. They beat us over 2 legs, so I don't care about how they've done it. They rode their luck. It's Champions League. You're in that competition for a reason. They rode their luck. Liverpool, listen, let's make no bones about it. Liverpool have had 2 Champions League finals. They rode their fucking luck to get there.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean? So let's pull that out of it and let's just go back to what Liverpool can control, and that is the controllables, and is Liverpool have to take their chances. You can't carve out 35 and at 35. This is what I'm saying. Champions League game. You can't carve out 35 and score 2, hit the bar, keep it with some good saves, some poor finishing, some disgusting decision making. So that's why I'm a little bit different. And yeah, I know it's hard. It's a wound. It's an open wound. But put that to one side. Atletico Madrid have done a job on you, because whether you like it or not, and how it's come about, they rode their luck. There was some times when Liverpool should have scored, but they didn't. And that's why you have to turn around and say, as much as it might frustrate you and annoy you, and the way they do things is annoying, but they've done what they came to do, and they've not just gone through and drawn and gone for away goals. They've beat you. They've hit the back of the net 3 times at your place. That's where I'm just a bit like, listen, let's put all the salt to one side and let's just take a bit of a reality check and say, yeah, we're happy because we went out. It was a great game, and I'd rather they play well and lose doing something and doing it well. Yeah, things have gone against them in the fact that Adrian did make a mistake and it was a wrong time to do that. But you've had 35 chances in 90 minutes, so there's no excuses.
So what you saying that I'm salty?
No, I'm saying while what you're saying, I think you've got a fresh wound, and the way you've watched that game, you're not happy with the outcome of it, which I agree. But I also think you've got to turn around and say, when Liverpool have gone through games when they've not played well and they've gone and scraped it, we're happy to turn around and be like, yeah, job done, move on. Atletico Madrid are now going to be sitting there saying, yeah, I don't care about anything else. We came there to do what we came to do, done it, boom, close the chapter, move on. That's what they're going to be thinking.
Yeah, but all I'm trying to say is that, but how can you say, so you're saying about Liverpool carving up chances, that's what the game was about to do. Liverpool were there to carve up chances, right?
But at what point are you going to turn around and say they didn't take those chances? No, so you can't leave that to Alisson.
No,
to Adrian.
I know, I said that they should have taken the chances, but they've scored the goals that they needed to do to get them through at that stage of the game. So mission accomplished up until then. No, that is the mission. The mission is to get the goals so they can get through. Is it not? It doesn't matter, regardless of you make 100 chances, make 50 chances, the aim is to get the ball in there to get you to the next stage.
But you also know that their situation didn't change. They needed to score one goal.
Yeah.
And then Liverpool needed to score 2. So their situation did not change. Liverpool needed to score 3 goals to be safe, regardless. And they could. That was the aim of the game. Not 2 goals. Be realistic. It wasn't to score 2 goals. It was to score 3. That's prep.
That's for you to say, okay, we're safe to get through. What you actually need is that second goal to get through. Technically, that's all you need. So at that stage of the game, all I'm saying is they haven't had a sniff of the game. So for people just to say, oh, don't blame Adrian, blame all the chances. It's almost like, oh, you don't want to put everything on Adrian. Let's make it so that the blame is on everybody else. Those 10 players gave everything. So up until then, the players are telling him to go that way. So for me, it's a bit like, I'm not being so. I'm trying to say is that people are trying to be nice to Adrian because it's like, oh, they should have taken their chances this side. But for me, it was like they did what they need to do at that stage. And at that stage, I thought Liverpool, they're going to go through. I tell it bait. Until I saw that, I was like, oh my God. But let's go away from this topic because we'll go around.
Exactly, because you can turn around and say, Adrian can turn around and say, my job up to this point, at the night, let's just say for argument's sake, playing devil's advocate, 90th minute, he could have said, it's 1-0, I've kept a clean sheet. Up to this point, my job is done. You mans ain't scored. You've had 35 chances, you ain't scored. Devil's advocate, because
I don't get that.
Devil's advocate, because what I'm trying to say is, at the point when Liverpool had scored 2 goals, you're saying, up to this point, our job is done now, because our job was to score 2 goals. Yeah? I'm just playing devil's advocate. At 90 minutes, he could have gone in and said to them, I've kept a clean sheet, you lot have carved out all these chances and haven't taken them. So you haven't done your job.
No, the job isn't done until the end, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So whatever you say, it doesn't matter. Those players are on the same pitch for the same amount of time as he is. So for you to turn around and say, up to that point when the second goal was scored, that job's done now. No, it's not. You defend from the front anyway, but what I'm saying is, all those chances, you've got to score. You can't turn around and say, up to this point, job is done.
I didn't say job is done. I said on that part of the game, they're technically going through at that stage. It's not done, because even the players, they can't stop defending because they think it's done, can they? Well, anyway, listen, we're not going to agree on it, because I'm just saying is that the way you're taking the weight off Adrian makes me, I just don't get it. Like, everyone's done a job. They've all those 10 players, they've done brilliantly, and then suddenly Adrian's making a mistake out of nothing.
So hold on. So what are you? What's
gonna
your
go right,
point?
so go on.
What's your point? Are you saying that the us not going through is because of his mistake? That's your point.
No, it's not solely his mistake. But how are people? But what I'm saying is, how are people not addressing the fact that this game with Liverpool raped in Madrid, and suddenly Adrian makes a mistake? That's what happened in the night.
I don't know. I can't get on board with that.
All right then. Well, like I said, we'll disagree on that, and you lot let us know your opinions if you're watching, whatever. The next point I want to mention that you said as well is the gap between the levels. I think this is a Liverpool thing. When you look at the second option for Liverpool in those positions, there's a huge gap, and it's not just the whole Alisson and Adrian. It's when you look at different places when people come in to cover, we have a massive fall in quality. And I think this shows that again the depth of the squad. When we're looking in certain positions, when we're looking at when people came on to change the game, even it was dud. Do you know what I mean? When you saw the Origis come on, he's shooting towards the sideboards. Who the two players came on? Origi, Fabinho, I think it was,
and then the
Milner.
Minamino.
And Minamino at the end. And I think the gap is massive. And I think you touched on this as well. It's like it's just too big.
The thing is, everyone compares it to Man City, right?
And
but you can't because they cheated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The FFP and all that stuff. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we still have the opportunities to have better players in those positions. And also half of it is that Liverpool have built so much in this time, and I do believe that Klopp will address this. But Lallana's of the world, Origi's of the world, Adrian's, instead of having people that are slightly older, they should look at the other way and say, right, these guys are the ones in possession of the shirt and they're top draw, but we want the best of the next around coming through. Not having people like Lallana who's been there for a hot minute, can't stay fit. Origi, yeah, he's probably just riding the paycheck now because he's had a good few years there. He needs to, if I'm Origi, I'm thinking I need to be playing regularly now. Because I'm at an age now where I've done all my learning on whatever it is.
Not playing left wing, bro.
That's it. That's what he needs to be doing. So yeah, I think that it does show that it does need a revamp. The first 11 are brilliant. There's no two ways about it. Probably I'd say the first 12 or 13. The other thing I will say is, and I know it sounds harsh to say it, but I do think, as much as I do rate Joe Gomez, and I do think he's very good, I'm not getting away from that. He's still young and still got learning to do. But I did say that I'm starting to think people are picking on him a little bit. And for that second goal that they scored after Adrian's mistake, the second goal that they scored, that is poor defending from my perspective. I don't understand what Gomez is doing, standing so far off. I don't know what he's doing there.
And he hasn't even got in.
They've got no runners on the outside. They could have tripled up, doubled up in there with Henderson, but he's just stepped off, let matey shoot. Nah, not for me. They did the same thing on Saturday against Bournemouth when he got buoyed off and then he didn't react, stepped right off. What's he doing?
It's like he's waiting. Like he's waiting for someone to come over there or Verge or someone to pick up. He's just there holding it up until someone comes up. That's what it seems like.
But there's no runners behind him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
there's
just
not
baffling.
a runner behind him.
It's baffling.
So yeah, I think there is that position. Matip, yeah, he done well last year, and everyone's saying that he should come back in. But equally, he ain't played for so long, and to chuck him straight in, and Lovren did what he did. Again, that's the gap, then, isn't it? There's another opportunity there for someone to come in and go get the lad that plays for Leipzig, that Upamecano, I think his name is, something like that. Koulibaly, I've been talking about that for years. But there is definitely something there because I'm seeing people are picking on him a little bit. And also, Verge, there's a few things I'm picking up lately that I'm thinking he has not hit the levels that he hit last year, which is hard. But what have you picked up? Well, I'm just thinking, there's a few times where he's getting caught out of position a bit more. He's not as switched on at the moment. He seems a bit more kind of lethargic and a bit more expectant that, if he doesn't seem to be as switched on. Balls down the side, I'm seeing people get the run on him now. Whereas before, last year, he was a little bit more switched on. Very, very small things. And when he's set himself such a high bar, it is tough to keep hitting that. But listen, when you give yourself that, you earn that title of the best defender in the world, you kind of have to keep hitting those levels.
Genie, Ox, I know, like I said, the whole team performance, but some of their performances are Ox. After the assist, when he gave that crossing, he was flames. He was flames. He was doing mad, and that's the level that we would expect Ox at. Genie, we've said this for so long. Like he ain't even signed the contract. This guy should be signed up. Like
sign the contract.
Sign the contract, big boy. Like seriously, engine throughout the whole game. What he was doing, the goal was a massive goal as well. To flip the script onto Atletico, Tate Patre. Oh my good lord, that guy can play.
Yeah.
He's neat as well. Over both legs, he was sick. You mentioned about Oblak. For me, those two were massive standout players for Atletico Madrid, and he was a serious player. So nothing more I can say on that one.
But Milner was quality when he came on yesterday.
Oh, he was diving around, making big crunching tackles. So, like I said, the whole team's performance, I can't, say anything bad against it. I just thought it was a great performance. It was a great watch. We had a neutral watching with us, and he was like, it was a mad game. People were jumping on this side, sitting down this side, holding their heads. Mad game. Before we go into the man of the match, so I just want a quick yes or no answer from you. Basically, we won't argue on it. Was it a Simeone masterclass for you?
I don't think it's a yes no. I don't think it's a yes no. I think
We're not debating
from a Simeone perspective, from his personal perspective, yes.
I want your
My personal perspective, it's not a masterclass.
Okay,
no.
okay. Is the Premier League overrated in comparison to other leagues?
No.
And that was the two major questions. There's two of the things I picked up on, and I was like, I just don't get where the fans and neutrals and all this are coming from. I just don't get it. Man of the match is going to be a difficult one because there was some serious performances. But who are you going to select?
From a Liverpool perspective, Wijnaldum was man of the match for me. I just think just everything about him yesterday just epitomises what he's about as a player. But from a game perspective, I think Oblak was just magnifico.
Yeah, I literally can't disagree. The only one would come close, as you mentioned, Mo Salah earlier. He was involved in the game. Like, a lot of people get frustrated with Mo Salah. They talk about their front three and who they prefer and who they get rid of. This guy is literally involved in everything. Like, literally everything. Like, that Liverpool do. He's involved in it. It's still like some of the decision making frustrates us. When he did that mad run and he got himself in that position as a striker, you've got to be hitting the target. But I'm asking for a lot. He's literally gone past the whole fucking 3-4 team in the back there. So, look, great game. We take it on the chin. We take the L. As I said, like, regardless of what we think of what happened in the games, and that you've had two legs. You've had over 200 minutes to beat this team. You haven't. Atletico have done it to you, and that's what Champions League is all about. It's a great competition. And style, it's just like boxing, styles make fights. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those things, and the Klopp needs to take that on the chin. Owen needs to stop being extra salty, and that's it really from us. Let us know your opinions. It was quite a heated debate. Got different opinions on it, and we'd love to read your comments on it. So best of luck to Atletico, but I don't think they'll go all the way. If they do, I'll be very surprised. So don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and definitely comment.